So independent of that, Lloyd realized that. And that's how he went to seek possibilities for Jamaican music. And one of the possibilities that he did bring to the table was Joe Bogdanovich. Lloyd Stanbury and Clyde Mackenzie also realized possibilities not just for Jamaica, but for the Caribbean. And so they mounted something called the Caribbean Music Expo. Two of their resource persons consistently were myself and Lantoinette Styles. They always sought our expertise very respectfully, saw that we were paid, and sought our expertise in terms of training and direction. In the Bogdanovich situation, our expertise was sought for something that he also noticed was missing. It had been attempted several times before and never went anywhere. And so he wanted to revisit the idea in a fairly elaborate way that was respectful to the pioneers of the music. And that was a proper awards. Now, before that he had started the Jamaican Music Industry Association, which I think is still registered. But our industry suffers from some ignorance. It's not a sin, and I don't mean arrogance, I mean ignorance. People who just don't know. But unfortunately, many of us, rather than find out, became suspicious of each other. It is an unfortunate legacy from slavery. It is a part of our culture that is coming from way back there, where we were taught to be suspicious of each other because it's a control mechanism. So sometimes when one black person said something that was good for another black person, that black person wasn't going to hear it because I wonder if he or she has an angle, you see? And believe you me, to use a Jamaican phrase, them can make story, right? Or they will build a story, and if you repeat it long enough, it's accepted as the truth. So I am saying this not to put down my country, but to look at things that we have to move from to get where we have to go. So we have to criticize it. I call bad mind the national disease. And it is a very, very upfront topic. Dancehall. A lot of dancehall tunes are about bad mind. You see? It's something we have to get over. It's affecting us badly. So Lloyd had these awards, and part of the funding for those awards was Mr. Bogdanovich. And
almost all the funding.
almost all of it. And much of the creative input in terms of thing was myself and Lantoinette in a team with Lloyd and Clyde. It happened in the netball arena, but there was some contention which I don't want to go into because I think it's counterproductive at this stage, because it set the pace for things that were to come, even though it could have gone another way and be more fluid and continuous. It was disjointed. But let's face it, today we have Jaria, and today we do have an awards. And I will admit that much of it is what Lloyd would have wanted in his original plan. Okay? Unfortunately, generations have to move out of the way and allow new thinking, unless the generation can embrace a broader perspective. So some of the old guys have a broad perspective, I'm good, but some of them are in the way. And that's what we need to change.
So to that point though, Ibu, when you've got the creators and you've got the government and you've got people interested in creating some sort of network between all of the different stakeholders, was there ever a broad strategic plan that would bring in all the different people that contribute to the success of reggae music from an outside point of view, it seems like there's a strategic plan that was never put in place.
I'm glad you put it that way, because I was going to say yes and no. It is the acceptance of the plan, based on what I said. I'm going to call names because some people have done valuable work and they should be recognized. Andrea Davis
Yes.
did an awesome plan. It is still around.
The July 1st celebration.
Yeah, she has a July 4th celebration, but she did a plan for the music industry differently. It is out of that we have the entertainment board, because a committee was called, that was called the Entertainment Advisory Committee at the time, council or something like that. Myself, Andrea, Lloyd, Kingsley Cooper, right? The present minister was not a minister at the time, because I think it was the other administration at the time. And they called it inside of Jampro. And she did awesome work. There is also an entertainment, the Entertainment Encouragement Act in the incentive, right? Lloyd, Sandra Alcott, these people, they did nights of serious labor on these things. That one has never gone through Parliament. It got stuck at Parliament. So it is the acceptance and implementation, not the plan. And I must say, our generation knew what we wanted. For example, we also met for several days and nights trying to get a performing arts center. So these things have been on the table. It's not a new idea. It has been to get it implemented and funded and accepted. And so we pass it on.
Yeah. But maybe what was missing was that they should have been part of writing the strategic plan so that they had
No, it's
ownership.
written. It's written.
So were they part of the stakeholders in writing the
No,
strategic?
who's it they? That you need to, who you say?
The people that have allowed it to get stuck because it didn't. The Parliament, I guess, is where I'm going.
Oh, let me explain something about Jamaican culture. And again, I refer to the Jamaican culture that began with the slave trade. In the British countries, and maybe Jamaica more than, only maybe Barbados can rival us with this, there's a class system. The class system may even have color lines. Unfortunately, the ones who have been traditionally of the upper echelon, okay, have been comfortable exploiting and making money from the other people, but have never sort of embraced what would be good for the nation, because it was hard for them to accept reggae. I'm not jumping all over the place, but let's face it, reggae in its inception was not thought of by many people as any high-level music. I did formal music training, and formal music training was classical music. See, some of us flew over the cuckoo's nest and learned to play reggae and learned to play jazz and things by ourselves. Okay, years later, with Platinum here, we now have an institution that we can impart, and that's a good thing, but look how long it took to grow. And when I started at Edna Manley, I cannot honestly say that what I was doing was as accepted as it is now, even inside the institution. And I'm not putting down people at the institution. It is the unfolding of the bad culture that has to be stripped away like an onion skin. So this is not personal. Some of the people are the same people, but they have a different mindset now.
Did Rastafari have any implication on why reggae was not well accepted from the beginning?
Without a doubt.
So it was Rastafari's.
Without a doubt. Rasta was a dirty man from around.
So their music is the same. It's perceived as the same as the Rasta man. Perhaps that's why reggae was
Some
never.
of it.
Yeah. Is that changed now? Is the relationship between the government of Jamaica and the stakeholders currently, you're saying that it has changed in a positive way, but it still has a far
Changing.
changing. Okay.
And in that regard, I want to say that, I will say, without partisan bias, that I like the way our present minister is moving. You know, I have to say kudos to Babsy, and I'm not buttering up for any favors. This is a real thing. Putting her politics aside, she has been sincerely there for the music, and she has been sincerely there for her roots in Kingston. And she has taken criticism herself
Yes.
within her own administration for the music and the Rastas. It's a fact. And she has stood up and weathered the weather. And so this year, for example, is a much better cohesion between the stakeholders in even Reggae Month.
Because of Babsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say that without apology. Where we have to go now is to grow for the country and the tourist trade to understand the importance of entertainment in attracting visitors. They have been thinking of it back ways. They have been thinking that people come to Jamaica for the beach and yeah, those entertainers peripherally. No, it is no soaking that the entertainment is an integral part of why they come here. And if we improve the entertainment, we will not only improve the visitor complement, but things like Reggae Month will improve Kingston as another location for tourists, because Kingston is still seen as the business center and North Coast is tourism traditionally. But mums and pop hotels have been in vogue for a long time. But now here comes Airbnb, and all of a sudden people are like, okay. You see? So there's a lot of potential. The British Council took me to Edinburgh some years ago, and they have taken another delegation since mine to look at the Edinburgh Festival. And so I want people to understand the possibilities. After the war, Edinburgh had the festival just to give the people a little feel good coming out of World War II. And it has grown into such a large festival that 50% of the city give up their houses during the festival period for accommodation. You cannot get a hotel. This not only benefits the festival activities, but of course your traditional tourist activities like the visit to the castle and so on benefit. Every other industry benefits. They see the value of it. Now, there is the official festival put on by the Central Committee, but people who couldn't get in started to put on their own thing in what they call the Fringe. And now the Fringe Festival is bigger than the official festival. These are the possibilities. Edinburgh is not thinking of letting go of that thing anytime soon. It is enshrined and cast in stone as part of their culture. That's a similar vision we have from Kingston, in Reggae Month especially, and maybe more. The legacy of Marley and the ones who toured in those early days to get the world aware of this little rock should be a good platform for further development. But it has to be treated respectfully. You have to acknowledge where it's coming from. On the Schools Challenge quiz recently, they asked a little young girl, where did reggae originate? They said Jamaica, and the young girl said Barbados. The moderator said wrong. And the other girl said, I will take it. And then she said Trinidad. So we have to be aware that we cannot assume that history passes on. No, I'm not blaming them. It's a disconnect because we sometimes assume that, yeah man, them supposed to know. So you go into a classroom and the teacher knows me because the teacher is of a particular age group, and the teacher says to a child, you don't know Mr. Cooper from Third Ward. The child has never heard of Third Ward. She wasn't even born yet. We can teach her about Third Ward and play the music and so on. And they are impressed once they know. But you cannot assume that the history just jumps like that.
So that brings me to the next question, which is about, you've been teaching at the Edna Manley College in the School of Music for a long time.
19 years.
What impact are you seeing on...
19 years?
19 years. What impact are you seeing on the musicians that are graduating from the school and how it's impacting the music industry?
Let me start with personally. Standing in a Reggae Month launch and looking up at the screen, I must admit that I smile inside when I look at all of my former students now on stage.
Yeah. Could you name a few?
Okay. Business Signal's bass player, Ian Harley, the keyboardist Wire. Well sought after guitarist now, Lamont Savory, Monty, all of those guys. It is awesome to now have had a Grammy-nominated band coming out of the class, and that was Raging Fire. One of the best production units now, which is Notice Production, I actually named the band, right? Because it was at the end of a class, and I used to divide them up in groups and teach them the Jamaican pop music. And the class was over, and I said, okay, guys, that's it until further notice. And they were the band on stage, so they call themselves Further Notice, and now it's Notice Productions. Yeah, so, you know, when I see them now, I'm very proud, and they're going to all the places that I used to tell them about. As a matter of fact, they're telling me about places now that I have never been to.
Right. So the reggae influence, I don't quite understand why the government of Jamaica doesn't see the level of awareness and consciousness that other nations have for reggae. When you look at Africa, when you look at Europe, when you look at these festivals that have 30 to 50,000 people coming to a reggae concert in a country, maybe some of these countries don't even speak English, and they're just hearing the music. What is your thinking about how can Jamaica, I come from Austin, Texas, one of the biggest music cities in the country, and it brings in millions of dollars, especially for the South by Southwest Music Conference. It has changed our economy in so many ways. Where are the blinders? What is this continued resistance when you've got marijuana and music?
Okay. It goes back to the social class legacy. By the time touring as a reggae band became more popular, as I say, after the Bob Marley 70s coming down, many of us had traveled more than our ministers of government. But we didn't come from the class of society that was expected to know anything. We didn't have letters behind our names. And we were just minstrels in their minds. So when we came back from overseas and told them what was happening, it was like, right, you guys just blowing your own trumpet. One very large business family, one of the persons from one of Jamaica's biggest business families, once said in a meeting when he was chairman of a particular organization, "Where are the fictitious millions?" I quote, "Where are the fictitious millions?" Right now, my passport that I have is my 9th passport. What eventually started to happen, and it is still happening, is that some of these people then started to go into the places and experience what we had been telling them for the first time. But like first timers everywhere, oh, I discovered this. It's like Christopher Columbus discovering the Western world and people were here before. You see, so no, I was telling you that long ago you did not discover it, but it's like an awesome new experience. At the Reggae Month launch, the Minister of Tourism spoke about being in Turkey. It was an awesome experience for him because many of them could not understand why somebody in Turkey would be relating to this island until they actually see it. Now we know that. We knew that for years ago. So we have to be patient because we were ahead, knowledge-wise, by traveling. When they were in the classroom, learning it from a book, and also being taught how to understand it. That's the key. Let me tell you something that, I'm not off track, but if you follow my trend, you will realize what I'm saying. Many Jamaicans believe that you have to know English before you know Patois because they don't see Patois as a language. But there are many people I know who know Spanish straight to Patois because they never experienced English. They came to Jamaica and lived where Patois was spoken. So you understand what I'm saying? So that whole mindset does not make them have that appreciation until they experience the thing in the... But it's not just a Jamaica thing. When Third World was signed to Colombia. The American part of the company was run by a man called Larkin Arnold. And when we were trying to tell Larkin how big Jamaican acts were in Europe, he didn't believe it because he was thinking strictly in the context of African Americans. And, you know, his groups in America were big in America. You are not big in America. And they had that perspective of the whole world. So he comes to England, and this is the Wembley Arena. One night headlining Shaka Khan, and one night headlining Third World. Wembley Arena. He went to both shows. And both shows were sold out. You could not get another ticket. He stood up there like this. You understand? And at that time, the act that he was promoting in America was not that large in London. At that time, he had no idea who Gregory Isaacs was. See what I'm saying? But insular, narrow. We were exposed because of to a worldview. But even in our country, some people are just getting the worldview.
So Ibu, I think part of what's missing is this older generation not using technology and social media to stay up. I mean, if they were watching these videos of these reggae shows across the world, they would see 50,000 people standing there. So,
yes, that you're right, but there's nothing like being in the venue.
Right.
It's a different experience seeing 50,000 people. Yeah, right. And then they might think, okay, so he's opening for somebody who's coming later. A former minister of entertainment said when he went to a particular show in Europe and he saw the penultimate act and he saw 30,000 people going Ray, he was wondering how come they put Barrington Levy after this act.
oh my goodness.
All of this I'm not making it up, coming from the horse's mouth. In other words, he did not realize that Barrington Levy is the headliner in this show.
Yeah, I got it.
When Barrington Levy came out, he confessed that he was blown away because these 30,000 people was going wilder than they went for the act before.
So you can lead a horse to water, but they don't always drink?
Make them
Because
stand
at
up in the
South by
place.
Southwest, the government sent, I forget what her position was, but they sent her to experience South by Southwest. And she went, as far as we know, she went to one party and never experienced the whole of it. Didn't even go to the reggae venue, just was at a party at a studio. So in that case, I mean, what I'm hearing you say is that the politicians that are in office today need to be getting younger people ready to take their position. Younger people who have a broader perspective that use technology.
Or broaden their own perspective.
Okay, and use technology and know the resources available to them to, I mean, the problem here is that people don't become researchers when they get into these positions.
I'll tell you why I corrected, why I stopped you at the younger people thing. I have a little problem with it. Some of the youths are also ignorant. So they will get popular and figure this is the first time this is happening. That's what I'm worried about. So yes, you get a young act now who's promoted and is playing a 50,000 stadium. But yet that young act will never believe that I did that. You see, they now believe that they invent light bulb. You understand? So some of the expertise, and I go back to what Lloyd has done, myself and Clyde and Josanne and these people over the years, the expertise that we brought to the table from our experience wasn't properly utilized because as far as they were concerned, we were just some old guys who didn't know what we were talking about, and it was their time. So they created this divide.
Is it still there?
To some extent. They created a divide because they didn't figure that they needed to stand on a platform to get to the next level. They were it, and that's it. So they make a lot of business mistakes. They make a lot of intellectual property mistakes. They get older and don't have anything to show for it because they did not set up their business properly, all of that. Because when we had the seminars and the forums and so on, they were popular already, they don't need that. And unfortunately, I'm not going to call in a name, but one of our biggest reggae singers, who is a person, older person, who a lot of the youth respect, actually got public and said, music education is foolishness.
Whoa.
I was shocked.
Whoa.
That person said, voice training is not necessary because, quote, man not have him talent already. You see? So, we slug on because we know what we're up against. But no, we cannot, I am not one for bringing in women or young people or anything on a quota basis. I am a best person for the job person. So gender don't matter to me. Age don't matter to me. It is your ability to do the task. And if you are an older person, but you have a broad mindset, because I think you're creative still. Right? I keep my ears to the ground, know what's going on, and when I was like, you know, that I've been a techie man from a long time. I like the tech stuff. It's a reason why I am not more visible on social network, because I saw the abuse long ago. You see, social network must be used carefully.
Yes.
You see, I see the addictive. I need to post that I am drinking tea. No, that is not what it was made for. Because I knew what Zuckerberg and them were doing, so what's happening now doesn't surprise me. You see, we know where this is going philosophically, because that's what Rasta is about. Knowing how these guys want information and to use it how. So philosophically, we make music and we entertain, but we're not leaving our path of knowing what human progress is about, and that there are certain people who will stop human progress. And it's not a conspiracy theory. But remember one thing, you know, when you're building a wall, you know, remember one thing. There was a Rasta man called Bongo V. When he was arrested back in the days when herb was illegal. And when they put him in the cell and slammed the door, he said, "Squaddy, you lock out yourself."
Yeah.
Right? So remember, a wall has two sides. You can lock out people, but you can also lock yourself in. So beware wall builders. You see? Yeah. We are aware. It's not a joke by a Rasta come up in Jamaica to guide the world to truths. Yes. The most important reggae song ever made was Equal Rights and Justice. Because equal rights and justice smokes out the enemy, because it calls all humans to sit together as humans. So whoever doesn't want to sit on the table, that person have a problem, because I am extending the hand of love to you. So we cannot say one love until we have passed human rights and justice. One love is the ultimate, but we have to deal with equal rights and justice. Those were some serious artists, those were some serious messages, and it was never about the money nor the fame. Those messages are here now permanently in the hymn book of humanity. Remember me tell you.